It's Thursday and we're in Simpsonville. It's late in the day, so you may see this as Friday's devotion, but I will put one out tomorrow as well. I just had a lot of little errands that I had to do, as well as write up the minutes from our condominium meeting and get those recorded and sent out. But have you ever wondered, who is the person you most admire? What kind of person do you most admire? Well, I decided to put that to the test. I decided to look to see in the world that we live in, not just you and I, but the world we live in, to see the 10 most admired professions and the 10 least admired professions. Just think for a minute. Who do you think was on the list? Who were the most admired and who were the least admired? Just think for a minute. You may be surprised. You see, the 10 most admired are firefighters, scientists, teachers, doctors, military officers, nurses, police officers. Number 8 is clergy. Number 9 is farmers. And number 10 is engineers. I wonder how many of those you got. I wonder how surprised you are about who's on that list. Now let's think about the least admired people in this world according to the population. Well, number 1 is real estate people. Number 2 is actors. Number 3 are bankers. Number 4 are accountants. Number 5 are entertainers. That'll probably surprise you. Number 6 are stockbrokers. Number 7 are journalists. Number 8 are union leaders. Number 9 are business executives. And number 10 are athletes. Would you have ever guessed that the least admired professions would be athletes and entertainers, actors? Surprised me when I saw the list. But what does God say? What does the Bible say? You see, after they came down off of the mountain at the Mount of Transfiguration, there was an argument that started between those that had gone up. James, John, Peter. And the argument was, who was the greatest? Now, I don't know if James and John and Peter were thinking that they were the greatest because they went up on the Mount of Transfigurations, or whether coming down there was some discussion about why Jesus took those. Nevertheless, the argument is recorded in history in Luke chapter 9, beginning at verse 46. And Jesus, not hearing them, because I'm sure they wouldn't have that conversation in front of him, but knowing what they were thinking in their hearts, took a child and stood by Jesus' side. And he said to them, whoever receives this child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives him who sent me. For the one that is least among all of you, this is the one who is great. The one who is least among you, he's great. What did he mean? He certainly came back to that same theme that he's had so many times before. A servant. Who would ever list a servant as being the most admired? Someone who was just interested in helping others. Well, it's amazing. Perhaps our population isn't as dense as we thought they were. For they listed firefighters, first responders of doctors and nurses and policemen. They listed clergy, who usually typically don't make big wages and serve their congregations. They picked farmers. Isn't it interesting? God said, if you want to be great, be least. If you really want to make your life count, serve others. Now, what did the child represent that he stood alongside of himself? The child represented one who could do nothing for anyone else, who was dependent upon others, who was helpless, who needed the most help. And he said, if you receive them, if you serve them, if you care about them, you'll be the greatest. You know, in God's book, you might be surprised who's really important to him. You might be on that list of the most important people to him. Because if you've become a servant, if you've become a person who doesn't care about getting the credit but just wants to serve God, perhaps you're on his list of the most favored people. Something for you to think about. It's your thought for the day. God bless you and have a great day.